Peekaboo 25 here, and today I am bringing you a part 2 of my bucket list series. Granted, don't think the first one went over too well. I mean, it did fine in the ratings, but it also didn't exactly get the most views. But I'm still doing this anyway because I love to share my thoughts. I love countdowns as a general, and I plan to make this a mini series and cross things off as I go to feel somewhat a sense of accomplishment. I plan on making one for Europe for wooden and steel coasters for the entire bucket list continent of Europe. There's some great crafts there, and just generally, I'd love to make that. Just need to put countless hours of research into it because I'm absolutely clueless in European coasters. Anyhow, just a little quick note, this was a very hard list to make, and I made my decisions. These are what I'd like to ride personally for me. If I had an honorable mention list, it would be like 500 times longer than the actual list itself. Narrowing down to 10 entries was quite difficult, and if your favorite coaster didn't make it, I would most likely would love to go on it. I would love to go on it. I would not pass down a chance to ride it, especially if it's 100 miles away, hundreds of miles away. And there's just so many good steel coasters in North America, and all throughout the world especially. It was so hard to choose. Also, rides that I'll be going on in 2016 will not count, so rides such as Montu, and especially Fury 325 will not count. Sorry, Fury. Still love you, though. Number 10 is King Dakar, and yes, this is a controversial first choice, kind of like my Cyclone, but there's some nostalgia behind this. When I was a little boy, I first got into coasters before I even rode them, because I watched TV programs like Travel Channel and whatnot, coasters and water slide programs, highlighting intense rides throughout the entire world, especially North America, and this thing always was mentioned. Always, always, always. Tallest, fastest coaster in the world. And I still believe that for several years after Formula Rossa came out. I almost called it Ferrari Dobby. I don't know what I was thinking. I always desired a ride, my young eyes, and I still do today. I mean, later I found out it's not really that much, and size does not matter for roller coasters. I mean, you can have Maverick put this thing butt to the curb, but just this one, like the Coney Island Cyclone, is on a lot of GP's bucket list because it's got all the stats in its favor, not just the coaster enthusiasts, which can root out and weed out better rides based off of all the elements instead of just height and speed. You gotta love the GP. Which I was when I was like 8 years old. Makes me wish I wish life was that simple again. Number 9 is X2, and I may have a ride going against 2016 rides, but 2017 has no restrictions. This is probably the coaster I'd most like to try out for Magic Mountain. It's a one-of-a-kind experience that can only be found here and the rip-off Dino Conda in China, which I'm not going to be going to China anytime soon. Nothing against the Chinese. I'd just rather be in Japan than China. There's a lot of things going on in China that I'll leave to them. I've heard many complaints about this ride, even from my own brother who has rode it in 2015, because my grandfather took him and my younger cousin to Los Angeles and stopped here on the way. I heard there's quite a bit of discomfort in the ride, especially in the legs. I'll take it with a grain of salt. I'll ride it anyway, because I am absolutely professional at making bad decisions. Like that time I rode Ninja, both of them, over Georgia when I was waiting for fried chicken. I'll expand on that story if you want a later video if you want me to. And the Ninja at St. Louis, just because it's there. And also it looks kind of pretty. It's a big ball of steel, but so twisty and all that. And I'm going on mean streak, whether or not how many times you tell me no. For the credit. Number 8 is the new Texas Giant. This is the first of the RMCs to ever be made. Actually, the first Iron Horse to ever be made. And this was created in 2011. Definitely is rated one of the best steel coasters consistently by the Golden Ticket Awards, if that means anything. And it's just plain, wild, uncontrollable, ejector airtime pack fun. This ride is absolutely nuts. I've heard so many people just call this thing a wild, fun ride. It's not even that forceful, there isn't really that many forces, but it's just so out of control. You're just howling around the track, having all sorts of fun, yippee-ki-yay and all that. I could have gone on this in 2014, but we were denied, and instead settled on Six Flags Fiesta Texas due to the proximity of it. 45 minutes compared to like 2 hours from New Braunfels. One day, I'll go back, visit over Texas and Fiesta Texas, and ride everything. But especially this. I want to get on this like really bad. Number 7 is the Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. And one, I'm detecting a trend here, which, I mean, 2 RMCs in a row, how many more there can be? And 2, this ride can easily be confused with the Jokers at Six Flags Mexico and Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Or, sorry, Six Flags Great Adventure. So that's why I highlighted Six Flags Discovery Kingdom especially. I mean, I digress. This is a new, for 2016 RMC, so it'll be fresh out of the box. I consider this to be a mistake, but doesn't help. But I've come to terms with it, and it's probably the first of many GCIs to be Iron Horsed. It's not anything too special, not anything too groundbreaking for the RMC class, other than the hope that we can RMC more not-so-good GCIs and a barrel roll into a bank turn. That's kind of a cool element. But it's an RMC. No matter how mediocre it is, it will always be freaking awesome. It's an RMC. They have yet to disappoint us. Well, they have yet to make a bad ride, is what I should say. Number 6 is Medusa Steel Coaster, and this is the only RMC in Mexico. In Mexico. Meaning that I'm probably not going to ride this anytime soon. I mean, I'd rather be in Canada, but nothing against the Mexicans. Nothing against them. I have a friend, like a best friend who's Mexican. It's just like, we exchange a lot of stories about, yeah, moving on. Barrel roll drop, deserty surroundings, Spanish spirit, and winding hybrid tracks with a bunch of inversions. I'm so uneducated to this ride. I don't know much about this ride, but I would go to Mexico just to visit this one park. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I would go to Mexico just to visit Six Flags Mexico, just for like a day. It's worth it. Totally worth it. Number 5 is Wicked Cyclone, and I always had a soft spot for Cyclone models. Well, except for Georgia's Cyclone. It was a good idea at first, but then I realized it made my din, and it was like, my back, my spine, my nuts, even though it was actually genuine. I love the original Coney Island Cyclones history. I love Viper at Great America, which you'll see a review coming for that in the coming up month. And when I heard that a Cyclone hundreds of miles away was going to be RMC'd into this beast, I legitimately got hyped. I was more hyped for this than any other park. Even Twisted Colossus. This was the most hype attraction for me of 2015. It's a great ride. I have heard this coaster does lose its pace quite like a lot over time. Like it turns into like a slug towards the end of the ride. But I've heard all sorts of things about intensity, air time, hang time, overbank turns, all that fun stuff that just makes you want to ride this thing. Tearing on a Din Cyclone for this? Yeah, yes, please make this. Yeah, yeah. Din's probably my least favorite manufacturer, considering that I haven't been on that many Pinfaris. Number 4 is Leviathan, and this is another low chance ride. It's more probable than Medusa Steel Coaster, because I could probably more easily convince my parents to go to Toronto than Mexico City. And honestly, it's kind of a rough commute from here, because the whole thing is kind of a peninsula of Canada, surrounded by the Great Lakes, and the best way to get there is if I go to Cedar Point, take a boat from there or whatever, and get to the Ontarian coastline, and just rent a car, get here, or walk there. And this is just an amazing. I would love just to pay my own expense to get a trip to Canada's Wonderland. And honestly, it's a B&M Giga. I love B&M. I love Gigas, pretty much every single one. I can't wait to get on this. This would be a place or two higher. Say it'd be located in a different park in America. I can't exactly point out which one, but this one would definitely be higher if it were an American coaster. But I mean, nothing against the Canadians. But it's Canadian, so I need a passport, which I've never gotten, and I need to travel 8 hours just to be something that's actually like a 2-hour flight, or not even, like maybe 1-hour flight. It's kind of ridiculous. Number 3 is Storm Chaser. Yes, Storm Chaser over Leviathan. Storm Chaser, the reason why is proximity. This is a fantastic underdog RMC. 6 hours from my home. It's 6 hours from my house to Louisville. And I've passed it twice. And it broke my heart every time. And I'm going to be passing it a third time with the 2016 trip because I was denied permission to Kentucky Kingdom. On the way to, I will be going to Dollywood, Carowinds, Busch Gardens, Tampa. I already have a lot to be thankful for. I just couldn't go to Kentucky Kingdom, which I'm bummed, but I accepted it. With a little luck, we could be 2017 as a mini vacation to Louisville. Maybe if Kings Island doesn't get a Giga Coaster, then I'll try to go to Kentucky Kingdom for the weekend vacation. There's barrel roll drops, off-axis airtime, 0G rolls, overbank turns. Just a lot to make this coaster scream amazing. Taking an old rickety Twisted Twins coaster into this. It's brilliant, honestly. I love the idea of Storm Chaser. I'd love to get on it one day, and it's so close to my house. It's just a little further away than Kings Island would be, or just about the same distance it take from my house to Kings Island. From Illinois to Ohio, that's not a very long drive. It's like 5 hours to Sandusky, 6 hours to Cincinnati, and 6 hours to Louisville. Moving on. Number 2, we have Intimidator 305, and I love Intamins. I love intense rides, like old-style B&M coasters. I love Maverick. I love some nice, forceful rides. And this is arguably the most intense coaster in existence, like Skyrush and Mega Light as well. This is basically a Giga Mega Light coaster. It's honestly amazing. It's got awesome bank turns that make you gray or even black out. You got a few moments of ejector airtime, but just mostly it's lots of turns and twists and bank turns and all that. We originally were going to be planning a Virginia trip, Eastern Virginia, to the Raleigh or Norfolk area or whatever, for Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and Kings Dominion. But we pushed those plans aside for 2017's Southern California trip, which will get us trips to Universal Studios Hollywood, Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Knott's Berry Farm. So, yeah, this would be the highlight of that trip if it were still existing. It'd be fast, intense, unique, fun, and it's one of Taylor's favorite coasters, Coaster Studios. Love that guy. Great channel. You don't have to check him out, but I do. I enjoy his content every time. I'm not trying to advertise. If it works for him, works for me. Moving on. And number 1 is Superman the Ride, formerly known as Bizarro. This is a multi-winner Golden Ticket Award recipient that used to have, has been fighting with Millennium Force for years upon end for best coaster in the nation, or the world. It's one of Intamin's finest works. It's got tons of airtime, turns, some good trains that are coming back, and you don't have to worry about cheesy audio, and even virtual reality. What can go wrong? Kind of cursed myself, did I? On that note, so let's just hope if I ever get to ride Bizarro, I won't fall out of the train and die, because I might just curse myself there. But yeah, this has been my top 10 bucket list steel coasters for North America. And I hope you all have a good day. Good luck on finals. I got mine coming up in the next 2 weeks. And I'll just see you all later. Ciao and peace.